My friend, hear this now. There is a blessing that does not come by comfort. There is a promise that does not descend in silence. There is a destiny that will not be handed to you in the daylight. It is the Jacob blessing, and it is not cheap, and it is not passive. It is the blessing born in the wilderness, in the dark night of the soul, where angels wrestle and names are changed. Jacob was not perfect. He was a struggler, a deceiver, a man who ran, wrestled, and wept. But God does not call the perfect. He perfects the called. Jacob was left alone. That's where it all began. Not in a crowd, not in comfort, not in a celebration, but in isolation. And it was there, in the solitude of night, that God met him. Not with soft words, but with a struggle. Not with ease, but with opposition. And in that wrestling, Jacob was broken. His hip was dislocated. He limped from that moment on. But hear this. The limp was not a sign of defeat. It was the mark of encounter. He was broken, but he was blessed. The blessing of God does not always come wrapped in beauty. Sometimes it comes wrapped in bruises, in battles, in wounds that leave you forever changed. The world says strength is power, but in the kingdom of God, brokenness is the path to blessing. It's when your pride is crushed, when your strength runs dry, when your plans fall apart. That's when God steps in and says, now I can bless you, now I can use you, now I can rename you. The flesh resists the breaking. We run from it, fear it, resent it, but God chooses it, because he knows that only the broken can truly be made whole. Only the shattered vessel can carry his glory. Only the humbled can be entrusted with his power. Jacob thought he was wrestling a man, but he was wrestling his old self. He was wrestling his identity, his fears, his failures, and in the breaking, God was remaking him. We live in a culture that avoids pain at all costs. But in the kingdom, pain has a purpose. The breaking is not the end, it's the doorway. The crushing is not your curse, it's the cradle of your calling, for it was on the other side of the break that Jacob received the blessing that would birth a nation. So if you're being broken, don't resist it, don't curse it, don't walk away too soon. Let the breaking do its work. Let it purify you, let it refine you, let it strip away everything that cannot remain, until only his purpose is left standing. You will come out of the breaking, limping maybe but leaning, wounded maybe but walking in glory, not Jacob but Israel, not striving in the flesh but reigning in the spirit. The breaking is not your burial, it's your birth. The breaking is not your end, it's your transformation. The greatest blessings are often born in the deepest wounds. And the blessing of Jacob is the promise that those who refuse to let go in the night will walk into the sunrise forever changed. Jacob didn't stumble into the blessing. He wrestled for it. He didn't inherit it easily. He fought through the night for it. He was left alone, and in the mystery of that night a man came upon him, but this was no ordinary man. This was a divine encounter clothed in flesh and mystery, and Jacob did not shrink back. He didn't bow out. He clung, he contended, he wrestled, and that's what the blessing requires, not passivity, not convenience, not a prayer whispered once and forgotten, but a fight, a persistence that refuses to quit, a faith that says, I won't let go until something shifts. You must understand this. Some blessings are not handed to you. They are wrestled for. They are not found in the place of ease, but in the place of endurance. Jacob wrestled all night, not for minutes, not for an hour, but until the breaking of day. That means the fight didn't end quickly. The struggle didn't pass with a single shout or declaration. He stayed in the tension. He endured the pressure. He held on when he didn't even understand who or what he was holding on to. But something deep within him said, I must not let go. You see, we live in an age of quitting. We want blessings without cost. We want transformation without travail. But in the kingdom, there is no resurrection without crucifixion, no glory without a grind. You want to walk in power, then prepare to wrestle. You want breakthrough in your family, your calling, your identity. Then you must be willing to fight through the night in prayer, in fasting, in faith, in obedience. God is not offended by your wrestle. He invites it, because the wrestle proves you care. The wrestle proves you believe there's more. The wrestle proves you've got enough hunger to hold on when it would be easier to let go. Jacob's name was changed not because he was perfect, but because he was persistent. The blessing came not just because he believed, but because he refused to stop believing. He pressed past exhaustion, past confusion, past pain. And when the morning came, he emerged with a new name, a new identity, a new destiny. So wrestle, wrestle in prayer, wrestle in worship, wrestle in intercession for your family, your purpose, your future. Don't settle for surface Christianity when you were made for deeper things. Don't walk away from the place where heaven is wrestling with you. There are things God will only release to those who will fight through the silence, fight through the testing, fight through the night, and still say, I will not let you go unless you bless me. You must wrestle to win, not because God is against you, but because he's drawing the warrior out of you. He's awakening the overcomer. He's proving that the blessing is worth the battle. And when the morning light breaks through your night, you will realize the wrestle was the womb of the blessing. Jacob entered the night with one name and came out with another. He stepped into the struggle as Jacob, the supplanter, the deceiver, the one who grasped at heels and chased blessings through manipulation. But he walked away with a limp and a new name, Israel, one who has wrestled with God and prevailed. This is the mystery of divine struggle. It doesn't just change your situation, it changes your identity. The world had always called him Jacob. His past had always echoed Jacob. His reputation had been branded by the flaws of his youth. But God had something deeper in mind, and in the wrestle, God peeled away the labels of his past to reveal the purpose of his future. Jacob's whole life was marked by striving, fighting for position in the womb, tricking his brother, deceiving his father, running from consequences. His name told the story of a man who hustled for the blessing. But that night, God brought him to the end of himself. He was forced to confront who he really was, not just what he did. And God said, "What is your name?" Not because he didn't know it, but because Jacob needed to confess it. He needed to say it aloud. He needed to face it. I am Jacob. That name carried shame, history, regret. And yet, after Jacob admitted who he was, God declared who he was becoming. You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. He didn't just receive a new name. He received a new nature. A name that prophesied his future. A name that bore the scars of the struggle, but also the weight of the promise. Some of you are still living under old names, names that came from your past, names that were spoken over you by others, or even by yourself. Names like failure, addict, rejected, abandoned, not enough. But hear this, God is not afraid of your name. He came to change it, and that change comes in the struggle. It is in the struggle that God confronts the lies you've believed about yourself. It is in the wrestle that he breaks off the false identity you've worn like a garment. It is in the pressure of divine encounter that he calls you something new, from Jacob to Israel, from Abram to Abraham, from Sarai to Sarah, from Simon to Peter, from Saul to Paul. It's a holy pattern. Before God can send you into your calling, he must rename you in the struggle. He must strip away the flesh so he can reveal the spirit. He must tear down who you were so he can build who you're becoming. And he does it not to shame you, but to claim you. You cannot walk into your promise carrying yesterday's name. The destiny that awaits you demands a transformation of identity. And the good news is, God is not waiting for you to fix yourself to rename you. He does it in the thick of your wrestle, in the agony of your breaking, in the heat of your midnight. That name change is a marker. It is a sign that you have encountered God and lived. It is evidence that you've been on holy ground, and yes, you may walk away limping, but you will never walk the same again. You may still bear the scars, but you'll carry them with authority. So don't run from the struggle, don't fear the wrestling, because it's there, in that place of pressing, confessing, and clinging, that God whispers, you are no longer who you were. I call you something new. The struggle reveals the truth of who you are, but it also reveals the truth of who you're meant to become. Jacob's encounter wasn't just about him. It was about a legacy that would echo through generations, nations, and eternity. That moment in the night, that wrestling under the stars, didn't just shift his personal destiny. It shifted the destiny of a people. Because when God touches you, he touches everything connected to you. What happens in your private encounter becomes the seed of public transformation. When Jacob wrestled and received the blessing, he didn't just become Israel in name. He became the father of a nation. 12 sons would come from him, and from them 12 tribes. Those tribes would carry the covenant, preserve the word, birth the prophets, and usher in the Messiah, and it all traced back to a night of struggle and surrender. Jacob wrestled, and a nation was born. You see, God is never just after your moment. He's after your legacy. He's not just blessing you for your benefit. He's blessing you because someone down the line will need what he places in you today. Your children, your family, your spiritual sons and daughters, they are all connected to your obedience now. The encounter you have in the secret place becomes the inheritance they walk in publicly. Legacy is not built in the spotlight. It's born in the wrestle. It's formed when you choose to hold on instead of letting go, when you choose to believe instead of break, when you choose obedience in the dark, even when no one is watching. That's where the future is shaped. Jacob walked away with a limp, but that limp became a testimony. It became a symbol of transformation. His sons would see it. His grandchildren would hear the story. The people of Israel would remember the place, Peniel, the face of God, where their forefather met the Almighty and was forever changed. That encounter became a marker in history. It became a memorial that God is not far off, that he comes close enough to wrestle and mighty enough to bless. And the same is true for you. Your private breakthrough has public consequence. Your secret surrender becomes someone else's deliverance. Your midnight wrestle becomes your children's morning light. God may encounter you, but he's thinking about them. He may mark you, but he's writing a story that goes far beyond your years. You may feel like you're in a personal battle, but what if that battle is the birthplace of revival in your bloodline? What if your wrestle is the hinge upon which destiny swings for those after you? What if your breakthrough becomes their foundation? Don't despise your night season. Don't underestimate your encounter. You are wrestling not just for yourself. You are wrestling for your legacy, for your lineage, for generations yet unborn who will walk in the light of the blessing you would not let go of. God is a generational God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, and if you will stay in the wrestle, your name will be added to that lineage. Your encounter will become their inheritance, your story will become their strength. So fight on, pray on, hold on, because what God is doing in you, he is also doing through you. Your encounter will birth a legacy that hell can't stop and time can't erase. The night was nearly over. The darkness was beginning to thin, and the light of day was creeping over the horizon. Jacob had been wrestling all night long, struggling, clinging, groaning under the weight of something he didn't fully understand. And in that crucial moment, the mysterious figure, the angel, the man, the embodiment of the divine, said, "Let me go, for the day is breaking." But Jacob didn't let go. He had every reason to. He was exhausted. Bruised, dislocated, he had fought all night, and his body was broken, but his spirit was still clinging, and out of the depths of his soul he cried those history-altering words, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Friend, that is the heart of one who understands the cost and the value of divine encounter. Too many walk away too soon. Too many give up in the final stretch of the wrestle. They pray once, then stop. They start to fast, then quit. They step into the place of battle, but walk away before the breakthrough. But not Jacob. Jacob teaches us that sometimes the greatest blessings are only given to those who refuse to leave the fight empty-handed. The blessing is not for the casual seeker. It's not for the one who quits at the first sign of struggle. It's not for the one who walks away when things get hard, confusing, or painful. The blessing is reserved for those who say, "I know this is hard. I know I'm hurt. I know I'm tired. But I will not let go of God until something changes." Because the truth is, you can be in the presence of the Almighty and still leave unchanged if you let go too soon. You can touch the fringes of heaven and still walk away empty. If you walk away before the blessing comes, that moment was a test. "Let me go," the angel said, but it wasn't a command. It was an invitation. A question, a crossroad. God was asking Jacob, how badly do you want it? Are you willing to endure discomfort? Will you wrestle even when it hurts? Will you cling even when you don't understand what I'm doing? And Jacob's answer was a cry that has echoed through the ages, "I will not let you go. Not until you change me, not until you speak over me, not until you bless me." This is what heaven is waiting for, a people who will press in when others pull back. A generation that will hold fast even when the dawn is delayed. Saints who will contend in the midnight hour and refuse to leave without the anointing, without the word, without the fire. Don't walk away from the struggle without the reward. Don't walk away from the pain without the promise. If God is allowing you to wrestle, it's not to punish you. It's to prepare you. And if he's still wrestling with you, it means he hasn't finished mocking you. The dawn may be near, but that's when many quit. The battle may be at its hardest, but that's when most give in. Don't you dare walk away now. Hold on, stay planted, cry out, even with a limb, even with tears, even if all you have left is a whisper. Don't let go. Because the blessing is coming, the name change is coming, the legacy is being written, the encounter is being sealed, but you must stay, you must endure, you must refuse to leave without the full measure of what God intended. And when the dawn finally breaks, you will walk out of that night transformed, limping, yes, but blessed, not just touched, but changed, not just visited, but renamed, and the world will know you didn't walk away without the blessing. You clung to the promise until it clung to you. This is your moment to contend. This is your season to rise. The Jacob blessing is not for the faint of heart, but for the desperate. If you will wrestle, he will bless. If you will break, he will build.